Annuity do's and don'ts for baby boomers from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. That's right, free. This free book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And it's free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report summarizing the rates and benefits from financially strong insurers.
Call 800-715-9880.
That's right, annuity do's and don'ts for baby boomers and annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling today.
Call 800-715-9880. That's 800-715-9880.
Sponsored by Annuity General. Producers have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer. Increased income is possible using strategies suited to your goals and may require buying multiple annuities and holding them full term.
Listen, you can't handle the truth.
It's about to go off.
Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios.
Just a bit outside.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call now at 615-844-5600.
Oh, righty then.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
And a good Thursday afternoon to you, and yes, it is time for the McFarland Show here on WNSR.
Yes,
Darren
sir.
and Justin here with you. We're the McFarlands.
We are.
Devlin is not, but he is alongside for the ride for the next 2 hours. We're here live in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio, and we're going to talk to Terry McCormick coming up in about 15 minutes or so, talk a little bit about the Titans off-season, what he thinks about this Sunday with the conference championship games, and a whole lot more. At 3 o'clock, a man that has done a whole heck of a lot for this city.
Ooh.
And the landscape, the sports landscape, the business landscape, shaping this city over decades, is going to retire this summer. Butch Spearden. So we're going to catch up with Butch at 3 o'clock today and find out what are some things his things-to-do list before he gets out of here.
Yeah,
or at least he's not going anywhere, I don't think. But
I don't think so either.
Just think he's going to, just take it easy.
Yeah, rest up and recharge.
He's earned that.
Oh, yeah.
Although, and we can ask Butch this. Mm-hmm. When you've been doing what he's been doing and going at the pace and the rate and the schedule he's been doing for, almost 4 decades?
Yeah, long time.
Does he have the ability just to, wake up every day and be like, that's cool, I can do nothing, or I can do something? Is he wired like that to handle that?
I'm sure
some people are, some people aren't.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a transition period.
I would like to find out.
Yeah, we'll ask him. I'm sure there's a transition period that he'll go through.
Yeah, I'm saying I'd like to find out.
Oh, you like to find out for yourself?
That way, yeah.
If you can just
if I could just
if you could be okay,
do something, not do something,
just not being plugged into all this other stuff going on.
I mean, of course, I'd like to get a big settlement to go away and then figure that out.
Well, it's called retirement. Settlement. You work your way up, you save and you invest and hire a person, and then one day they call you and tell you, yeah, you can retire. I've talked to enough people in the TV business to know that they basically say pretty much that's how it works. One day they get a phone call. I won't call names, but I could call at least 3 different people who've told me that they got a phone call. It was their, retirement coach or, investor or whatever. And they said, I've got good news. We've hit the number, because you come up with a number that you need.
Yeah.
They said, we've hit the number. You can retire.
Wow.
And that's it. And, or you can keep working if you want. Just know we've hit the number.
Okay.
We're good. And because you never know, because you invest in different things, they rise, they fall, and, do all kinds of stuff. So, it's crazy. So Butch has hit the number. He can retire.
Man, still waiting for that call.
Stand by.
I'll be standing by for a while.
Never know. You keep doing these parlays and stuff,
Look, if I'm
keep racking them up there. One day you just go all in.
I don't think retirement is
like you got a funny feeling about the Cardinals last year. You get that funny feeling. Just go all in. I'm sure the missus won't mind. Just go all in.
I go all in a lot Or not a lot, but sometimes. But not all.
Just go all in on that, that over-under there.
Just a frisky, a frisky certain level of all in.
Yeah, and, actually don't do that.
And
don't go all in.
And that certain level is nowhere near what you're talking about.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
But you can retire. You hit it and you retire. If not, what's the worst? You could just have to start over, from scratch.
Not interested in that.
Yeah, it's rough.
Work too hard for that. Looks like the Carolina Panthers, after 49 interviews, they have found their man. Frank Reich. Frank Reich is going to take over as the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Looks like he beat out Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, that's tough. But it's an offensive league, so I understand. But it's they're just like everybody else at this point. They got to figure out what they want to do at quarterback, and if they can't, then Frank Reich will be out of a job coming up in 2 years.
He may get 3, maybe,
depending on what happens during the first 2.
What depends on what they look like.
Yeah,
what those 3 years look like. If they're competitive, if they're not, then it won't be 3 years. Yeah,
Reich is 61 already. I didn't realize he was quite that old, but he's 61 already here. Had a fairly successful run with the with the Colts. It wasn't like world beaters, but they did all right. And now you go down to Carolina, and I don't know what magic they think he's got in the bag, but I guess we'll find out. And they've got to get with here's the other thing about this, Darren, that this screams to me. This doesn't scream rookie quarterback. This screams veteran quarterback to me.
Feels that way.
This feels like, I don't know if it's going to be David Carr or something, which I think is what I said the other day, actually, when you asked me just yesterday about where I thought David Carr was going to end up. And I think I said Carolina. But, it's
Derek.
What I said?
David.
Oh, yeah, that flashback to another time and place.
They're brothers. They are related.
They are brothers. Derek Carr, the former quarterback now for the Las Vegas / Oakland / Los Angeles Raiders, and all of the above. This screams, veteran quarterback out there in Carolina. Now, which one? I'm not sure, but this screams like somebody, who knows his system and wants to do what Frank Reich does. And we'll see what happens from there.
Look, if Derek Carr ends up going to Carolina, I'd say without a doubt, Frank Reich hired as the coach, Derek Carr is the quarterback, and the pieces that they have currently in place, and we'll see what else they're able to add. In that division, that division that we talked about yesterday, they will, without a doubt, I think, be the favorites.
To win that division,
to win the division.
Now, can they make any noise with the upper echelons of the NFC? But see, that's what's fun about the NFL. We don't know. We don't know who's going to be good and who's going to be bad next year. We have no idea. So, it'll be interesting to watch because you really don't know. Are the Giants for real? Are they going to be back next year? We don't know.
No, don't know.
You don't know. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be back in Green Bay? Is Kirk Cousins going to fall off the cliff next year finally for the Vikings? I don't know.
Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of unknowns there.
Those are legit questions.
Geno Smith in Seattle, is that a one-year wonder? Is he going to be back to 14 picks and 12 touchdowns next year and 1,700 yards? You don't know. So the door is certainly wide open for the right people to come on in, because somebody's going to fall. That's the only one you can guarantee is somebody who is looking good right now, we would think is a pretty good team, is going to be trash next year.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Absolute trash.
That's the beauty of the NFL.
Titans went from the number 1 seed to out of the playoffs entirely.
So his 5 seasons as the head coach in Indianapolis, and he didn't make it 5. I guess we'll go 4.5 to be exact, right? 10-6, lost in the wild card game to the Kansas City Chiefs. Beat the Texans and then lost to so beat the Texans in the wild card game, lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round. Okay, next year 7-9, missed everything. Next year 11-5, lost to the Bills in the wild card game. Next year was not this current season, the season before, the crumble at the end with Carson Wentz, missed playoffs at 9-8, and this year 3-5-1, fired.
Overall, 40-33-1 as a head coach in the National Football League, and of course, he will forever be the one of the greatest backup quarterbacks in the history of football. After that comeback win over,
he'll always be linked to the Houston/Titans franchise.
Well, there's a lot of people who feel like if it were not for that, there's a lot of questions about if the Titans would even be here right now. Because and we've never talked about this, but this is something interesting to just think about. If that team in '93 goes on, or they had another team, they had a couple of really great teams in the early to mid '90s there. If one of those teams goes on to win the Super Bowl, not just get there, goes and Warren Moon's a Hall of Fame quarterback of any caliber you can imagine. He is certainly capable of winning the Super Bowl at that particular run. It just didn't happen. But if they go and they do it, is the city of Houston really going to tell Bud Adams no to a new stadium at that point? Are they really going to pick up and move to Nashville at that point? Probably not.
Probably not.
And who else was going to be ambitious enough, Mayor Bredesen/Governor Bredesen, to work out that deal to get an NFL team here? Because it wasn't like there was just a whole bunch of them up for grabs. The NFL hasn't expanded since then. So it is likely Nashville was never going to get a team if that comeback didn't happen there. And if Houston obviously goes on, but that Buffalo Bills team went on and went to the Super Bowl. They lost again, but they went to the Super Bowl. And I think, Darren, honestly, there's a legitimate question that if Warren Moon and the Houston Oilers get to a Super Bowl, just get there, or do they leave Houston? They don't even have to win. If they got blown out by the Cowboys just like the Bills did, does the city of Houston blink?
It's a fair question.
It's hard to say.
Jets have made a couple of hires as well. Their new OC, Nathaniel Hackett, who couldn't hack a season in Denver. So he's the new offensive coordinator. Keith Carter is their new O-line coach / run game coordinator. So Keith Carter, formerly offensive line coach of the Titans, now the Jets O-line coach. And as I said, run game coordinator, they hire Nathaniel Hackett, who couldn't hack it in Denver for an entire season. He's the new OC.
Nathaniel Hackett was doing a lot before he got to Denver.
He was the OC in Green Bay.
Okay. So he went from Aaron Rodgers to
Is this going to fan the flames more for Rodgers to the Jets? Yes, it is. This hire is going to have New York, yes, talking about it even more. Rodgers to the Jets, because there's already a big rumor, and now this will only make it worse.
I wonder if Aaron Rodgers really wants to go to New York and play for the Jets. I just wonder about that. I know he's not afraid of the big stage or anything like that. I just really wonder if he's in the mood for that kind of a thing, based on where he's been for the last umpteen years. Do you really want to go do that? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Everybody seems to have a lot of faith in their coach out there in New York and Robert Saleh, that he's the right guy.
Well,
this is a critical year for him.
Yeah, it is.
Critical year. You can be a nice guy all you want. People can love you all you want. But this is a results business, okay?
And the Jets, usually their results are poor.
They have gotten terrible results.
They're a sorry franchise.
They can't, you got to win games.
Yeah. They've been always deemed as one of those poorly run franchises, period. You can push back on that all you want, but history, it's not really an opinion. It's just a fact. We know we can identify the traditionally bad organizations. Jets, Browns, Lions, Cardinals, right? Jags,
hasn't done well.
I'm just saying. I said traditionally. Doesn't mean they never win.
Oh, sure.
It means just over decades and over time, they've made a lot of dumb decisions, and they're usually a team that's not a playoff team and having success.
Even the Cardinals got the Super Bowl.
By the way, the Bengals. The Bengals have been a laughingstock for a long time.
Well,
they've had a couple Super Bowl runs. So obviously Ken Anderson, Boomer Esiason, they had some patches, but then they were a laughing stock, the butt of all jokes, and then they get Joe Burrow, and now they're like, the toast of the town.
Part of the reason they're the toast of the town now is because they were a laughing stock for so long. That's how they ended up with the draft picks to end up with Joe Burrow and Jamar
Chase. Which, by the way, Sean McDermott was asked about them.
Yeah, it was the GM. Wasn't the head coach.
I know. Did you see that?
What, the GM?
Was it the Bills GM?
It was the Bills GM.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know why I thought it was McDermott. No. Okay. So it was. Yeah. I don't.
Because they wear the same thing and sit in front of the same background. They blend in pretty easily.
I thought that was strange for the head coach to be okay, but all right, that makes sense.
Yes.
And he was asked about, I guess, upgrading their wide receivers. You know, to maybe get a guy like Jamar Chase, and he was like basically like, he pretty much said, "Yeah, we have no interest in sucking." That's how the Bengals got Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. That's how it works.
That's what he said.
You have to suck really bad to get the first pick overall. And what was Jamar Chase? Fifth?
Yeah.
Fifth pick overall? That's right. We went over this. We did this exercise yesterday.
Yeah.
And Devlin raised up 5 fingers. And I forgot a day later. That's pretty sad.
It's just, age and stuff.
Thanks. Thank you.
It's okay.
Appreciate it.
I'm here to forgive and understand.
And remind.
Yeah, and just remind. Yeah, I'm here to
forgive and remind.
Remind you. That's all. It's no shade. It's no disrespect. And it doesn't matter. You'll forget I said it anyway. So.
Wow. Well done. Well done. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk to Terry McCormick. He has been covering the team since day one.
Yes.
TitanInsider.com.
Memphis day one.
Yes, that is a true statement. We'll talk to him next here on the McFarland Show, Nashville Sports Radio.
Are you looking for a trusted partner who knows AT&T business inside and out? ABS Communications is an organization built on the premise that telecom solutions and working with companies like AT&T can often be complicated, and the customer needs someone to help them navigate through these complexities. They make complex simple. Whether it's helping maintain, manage, or secure your business, ABS Communications is here to help with all your business telecom and mobility needs. Their business was built with the goal of simplifying the process of connectivity for the customer and establishing a long-term relationship of trust through transparency and accountability. ABS Communications is a top 5 AT&T authorized agent with over 200 years of AT&T technical experience. You can call Mark and the gang at 615-349-8588, or you can visit their website at abscom.net. And remember, mention the McFarland Show to ABS, and you could get up to $250 in a Visa gift card for new ABS business customers.
Golfers, tee it up this Thursday through Sunday at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the Callaway Fitting Event and be the first to score the new Paradigm woods and irons. The woods are engineered with forged carbon to maximize distance and forgiveness. The irons feature a forged face for increased launch speed and spin. A new paradigm in performance. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience happening this Thursday through Sunday. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Hey Nashville, start your day the right way with Bongo Java Cafe, located in the lobby of the Omni Nashville Hotel. Bongo Java is Nashville's oldest local coffee company. Get your day started with a freshly baked muffin and wash it down with a hot cup of dark roast or hair of the dog blend. With free Wi-Fi, you can get some work done while enjoying a toasted breakfast sandwich. Beat the traffic. Treat yourself at Bongo Java Cafe, located in the lobby of the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown Music City.
On the McFarland Show, Darren and Justin here with you on this Thursday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great day.
Absolutely.
To this point. Let's do a little old school radio. 2:22 is the time.
Absolutely. 2:22 is the time
Darren
here.
and Justin here, left or right on your radio dial.
On this cloudy afternoon across Music City,
Hello,
US of A.
Music City, US of A. Let's bring in Terry McCormick, TitanInsider.com. He's old school.
Yeah, he knows about that.
Terry, what's up?
Oh, how are you guys doing?
Fantastic. What's new and exciting in your world as you've entered your off season?
As I enter my off season, well, finally, I mean, I know that there are, about 100 coaching vacancies. It feels like
kidding.
To fill.
Let's start, honestly, let's start there. So Justin and I have been talking about this. This, for some reason, is not like all the other off seasons. It was more about the coordinators instead of the head coaches. How much are you surprised about that?
Yeah, I think, when you look, I believe I read somewhere that scoring was down quite a bit this year in the NFL. So I guess everybody's looking for ways to, try and find ways to score points. And the Titans are certainly at the head of that list of teams that need to figure out ways to score points. Like Mike Vrabel said as much in Rand Carthon's introductory press conference last week. So it's interesting that so many teams have looked to fill offensive coordinator vacancies as well, even more so than head coach. I think there's maybe 11 or 12 vacancies. A couple of them have been filled now. I think, obviously Bill O'Brien left Alabama to go back and work with Bill Belichick in New England, and Nathaniel Hackett, who was an unmitigated disaster as a head coach in Denver, but a pretty good coordinator, is going to the Jets, which now, of course, has triggered everyone into thinking that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets.
I think the total ended up being 14 coordinator jobs were open. Now, like you said, they've been filling up, but I think the number got to 14, which is amazing. And it looks like Keith Carter, by the way, will be joining Nathaniel Hackett as the O-line/run game coordinator for the Jets.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Keith Carter has certainly had his issues here. I think a lot of those were in terms of injuries and things like that to the personnel that forced his hand a little bit. But I do think that, they're probably putting, some of the blame probably has to go to him for the lack of development of guys like Dylan Radins and Aaron Brewer to become top-flight starters as they were expected to be.
Okay, let's just start with the division, okay? The Texans, are they going to address their quarterback situation with their pick, or do you think they're going to go after one of these big names?
Well, when you're picking second in the draft and knowing that the Bears are 99% sure not taking a quarterback because they have Justin Fields and want to build around him, you've got your pick of the litter. Yeah. And this is not a great quarterback class. I don't think we're going to look back years from now and say that John Elway, Jim Kelly, and Dan Marino came out of this class.
Probably not.
But if you have a chance to get either Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud when you're up there picking at number 2, I think you probably got to roll with it.
Okay, and I figured you'd say that, but I wanted just to get your thoughts. What about the Colts? What do you think they're going to do about their quarterback situation?
I think they draft whoever is left over among those two, although there have been, for whatever reason, people who said, they're really smitten with Will Levis. They may be apparently the only ones other than Mel Kiper who are smitten with Will Levis. But, you're a Kentucky fan. Tell me what you thought of it.
I watched him a lot. I've said this on the show. I've talked to people, so I've tried to get a little bit different perspective. I want to be wowed when people are saying, this guy's going to go, like when, the mock drafts right now, they've got Anthony Richardson. Like, I'm not a professional scout. Okay, I just do sports talk radio. I watch Anthony Richardson. I don't get it. Like, what am I missing on this guy being a top 10 pick from Florida? What in the world am I missing other than he can run, sure. But that to me has got boom or probably more bust written all over. It feels that way with a lot of these guys you've said. Will Levis feels like either a boom or a bust. And now I watch him. I obviously know he's got big arm. He's got the size. Everybody I've talked to said he's very smart. He's an intelligent guy, intelligent quarterback. But I expect to be, when you talk about being a top 5 pick, I want to be wowed. I want to be blown away when I watch you. I think he makes too many mistakes. And no, I don't see it. But again, that's just my eyes. I don't see it. It feels like him and Richardson are boom or bust. And quite honestly, the way Bryce, his size, Young and Stroud are probably in the same category. Like, I don't know who's going to turn out to be good. I mean, the chances are one of them is going to be really, really good, right? But there's a chance the other 3 can flop or just be average to, just be average quarterbacks.
No, I agree with you. I think, you've got to. It's maybe even more of an inexact science now than it ever has been, because the college game has changed so much. Everybody runs the spread. Everybody runs RPOs. And unless you're willing to adapt some of that into your offense, you're trying to put, the square peg in the round hole, so to speak. Everybody goes out, spending high picks on these guys, hoping they turn into Josh Allen, but then there's always the flip side of that. They can turn into Josh Rosen, Mitch Trubisky, right? I mean, we can just start going down the list of all these guys that have been drafted high, and they're already backups in the league. Or out of the league.
Or out of the league, yeah. Or out of the league, yeah. So what do you think ultimately the Titans are going to do about their quarterback position? What do you think Rand Carthen? I mean, he's got to tackle a lot of things, but that is something they have to address. Is it Ryan Tannehill? And if it is, who's going to be his backup?
I think the smart thing to do, if I were Rand Carthen, and I'm not because they didn't hire me to be the general manager, obviously, but that Mike Vrabel really likes Ryan Tannehill. He's said as much. I think you try to get Ryan Tannehill healthy, you roll with him for next year, and you probably bring back Josh Dobbs to be his backup. I thought Dobbs acquitted himself pretty well given the limited amount of time he was here. He showed that he was smart enough to pick up what they were doing and, make the offense look competent at times. And, on the other hand, Malik Willis to me looks like one of those, what I just said, one of those guys that if you're not willing to go all in with him and do what he does, you're not going to get the maximum out of his ability. Mm-hmm. So, I think we saw that when he got into action and was forced in there when Tannehill was hurt. And I think, the Titans don't have enough draft capital to get from 11 into the top 3 or 4 in order to get one of these quarterbacks, even if they wanted one of them. And quite frankly, 2 of the top 4 picks belong to their division rivals.
Yep.
Texans aren't trading with them. Colts aren't trading with them. So those 2 picks are probably already gone on quarterbacks. So at best, you'd be getting the 3rd best quarterback on most people's boards if you took one at number 11. So I think they go other ways. You could go and sign a free agent. You could go and, bring in Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo or Daniel Jones or somebody like that. But then you're talking about having to redo everything from scratch and maybe not for a long period of time because there's no guarantee that Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield or Daniel Jones or even Lamar Jackson, if he got to the open market or was traded, there's no guarantee that any of those guys are a long-term answer because, one, some of them have been overly productive, and 2, like with Lamar Jackson and to a certain extent Mayfield and Garoppolo, they battled their own injury issues, and how much do you really want to invest in that even though they're younger than Tannehill? I think sometimes the devil you do know is better than the devil you don't know, for lack of a better term.
All right, they have to be no-brainers, okay? Give me the no-brainer moves, names we know, starters we know, that Rand Carthen and the Titans are moving on from. They're not bringing back. The no-brainers.
I got to think Taylor Lewan is at the top of that list.
You put that as a no-brainer. He's not back.
Yes, not at the price tag he has. If he wants to be released and come back and play for, on a $1 million veteran minimum deal or something like that, then you'd entertain that because it would be low risk, high reward. But for what their numbers are right now, there are 4 guys that I'm moving on from immediately, and it's going to save me over $40 million in cap space. LaJuan is at the top of that list. Zach Cunningham is on that list. Robert Woods is on that list. And Bud Dupree is on that list. And when you look at the 4 of them, the only one that really, well, I'll say 2. I'll include LaJuan because when he's healthy, he's been pretty decent. The only one of those other 3 that you go, when he's on the field, he makes a difference, is Bud Dupree. But he's not been on the field, and you cannot afford to pay an 8-digit salary to a guy who's giving you a half a year. You just can't.
LaJuan, Dupree, and who were the other 2?
Cunningham and Woods.
Cunningham and Woods. Yeah. I mean, those 2 are definitely no-brainers, right? Woods and Cunningham, like there's not even a discussion. What about Ben Jones? Do you think he actually tries to come back and play another year, or are they also looking for a full-time center?
I think Ben Jones' heart, he would love to play another year, finish out his contract. But, I think he's got a decision to make. 2 concussions in a relatively short amount of time and a guy who's on the wrong side of 30, he's got to start thinking about his well-being and life after football. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he decides to hang it up and tell the Titans that they need to look for another center. Now, they could always re-sign Corey Levin to a cheap deal, or they could sign, keep Aaron Brewer and move him from guard to center, which would make him a little less of a liability because you can use a smaller guy at center, and that is his natural position or was in college. So, you could do that, or you could spend a 3rd or 4th round pick on a center and, groom that guy so that he's your starter for the next 3 or 4 years. They're in a sticky situation with this offensive line because I think we saw it this year. When you rely on rookies, and I'm talking about Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, who was average. When you rely on rookies, rookie linemen have to learn the ropes. They get beat most of the time. Unless they're, come out gangbusters like Quentin Nelson did with the Colts a few years back, or like Trey Smith did with the Chiefs a couple of years ago. Rookie offensive linemen generally learn the hard way by getting their quarterback beat up, by not, making the necessary blocks, to expedite in the run game all the time. It's just because they're going up against guys who are older and wiser and have been around and know all the tricks of the trade. So, if they're going to fix this offensive line, I almost think they can't afford to have really more than 1 rookie starting. They need to go into free agency, find a couple of holes to fill there, and then go with maybe a rookie left tackle with veterans around to help that guy ease into the transition from college to pro.
Terry, what did you take away from Mike Vrabel's comments about injuries at the end of the year where he was calling guys 2-time offenders when it came to soft tissue injuries? Is that, if you heard your name during that press conference, is that not kind of a message or a writing on the wall that you may want to start looking for apartments elsewhere?
Oh, absolutely it is. I think that means you need to be conditioning year-round. That means you need to be, not that maybe those guys aren't already doing that. It means that you need to maybe change your diet and reshape the way that you approach that, because, they don't want guys who are going to train hard during the season and eat right, and then all of a sudden go out on the banquet circuit in the off season or be seen at the drive-thru at McDonald's, very often. Not that I'm saying those guys were doing that, but I think it did send a clear message that Vrabel and the organization feels like that some of these soft tissue injuries are preventable. He pointed out Kevin Byard saying that he'd never had a pulled hamstring the whole time he's been here. In fact, he's never missed a game the whole time he's been here.
Yeah.
And Kevin Byard is one of the first people who will tell you. He said, over time, he said, I learned that I have to take care of my body, not only in season, but out of season in order to be ready for the rigors of an NFL season, because it does take a toll on your body. And he wants to be as ready as possible, and that includes everything from the way he trains to the way he eats to the way he sleeps, all those sorts of things. I think that that's a lesson that a lot of these other guys may have to fall in line and learn.
Yeah, he takes it very seriously for sure. Wanted to ask you about your impressions of the most recent press conference we had with Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, where the word cooperation was thrown around quite a bit, and it left some people wondering who truly is in charge of this football team. So, Terry, I'm going to ask you your impressions. Who is in charge of this football team?
That's a good question, and one that they never really settled on a definitive answer when they were talking about that. Rand Carthon made several references to, it's my job to work with Mike Vrabel and get him the best players I can get him so that he can coach them up and they can execute the game plans and do it, play the style of football he wants to play. But, Mike Vrabel never came out and said, I'm calling the shots here. Rand Carthon's answering to me, so that leads me to believe that that's not the case. I think what you get is what Amy Adams Strunk wants is two guys who are going to work together. And, yes, Vrabel initially might have a little bit more of the upper hand because he's been here. He's got a proven track record, and, he's the guy that, is kind of the face of this organization right now. But I don't think that means that Rand Carthon is going to be subservient and answering to everything that Vrabel wants, because you don't need that. We saw that here several years ago when, after the breakup of Jeff Fisher and Floyd Reese, we kind of saw some general managers kind of take a back seat to some of the head coaches. And in the end, it proved to be a detriment, because the coach needs to coach the players that are there and available that the GM provides. The GM and the scouting staff have to provide the type of players that the coach wants. Now, that's not to say there's not going to be disagreements, and I would expect there to be disagreements. And who referees those disputes, I have no idea. I guess it could be Amy Adams Strunk, but my guess is she's not been watching film of linebackers from Penn State to determine if this guy fits the defensive scheme or not. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of shakes out and where they go when there is a dispute. But in that regard, even if Mike Vrabel currently has a little bit more say because he's been here longer and because he is the coach, he's the guy who's going to be putting the product out on the field, I think Rand Carthon has to have enough power and enough say-so that when Mike Vrabel says, I like this guy, that Rand Carthon can say, no, this guy's not a fit because of this.
Terry, good stuff. It's going to be a interesting offseason for sure. Thanks for doing this. By the way, who wins on Sunday? Who's playing in the Super Bowl?
I think Philly and Cincinnati.
Philly and Cincy.
Here we go.
Okay.
That'll
Good stuff. Appreciate it. Enjoy it. We'll talk soon.
I think a hobbled Patrick Mahomes is probably tilts the AFC game toward the Bengals. If Mahomes were 100%, I'd probably go with the Chiefs.
Well, if you look at the press conference video today, he is making sure he has no limp and looks absolutely perfectly fine. And because no one probably heard a word he said, they were just waiting for him to get walk out from behind that podium and watch him go down those steps and out of that room. And that video was all over the place. And, they're trying to act like nothing to see here. But, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not buying it. That's interesting. Cincinnati, Philadelphia. All right, good stuff. Appreciate it.
All right, see you guys.
Terry McCormick, TitanInsider.com. 615-844-5600 is how you can get in touch with us. That is our phone line. We're wide open the rest of the hour. Whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about it with you. We'll do that next here on the McFarland Show, WNSR.
Are you tired of your current vehicle? Maybe looking for a new or pre-owned vehicle? Hey guys, it's Zach. Hayes Nissan of Rivergate is the best choice for your vehicle needs. Located at 1550 Gallatin Pike North in Madison, Hayes Nissan of Rivergate has been serving the Middle Tennessee community for over 3 decades. That gives you confidence that Hayes Nissan of Rivergate can find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and your budget. Their friendly and knowledgeable staff will make sure you are taken care of. I should know because I've seen it firsthand. Every vehicle I've purchased has been from Hayes Nissan of Rivergate, and I love the entire process. Now, I don't want you to forget about their award-winning parts and service department. It has everything you need to get you back on the road. Go visit them on the web at nissanofrivergate.com. They're open there 24/7, 365 days a year. Or give them a call at 615-865-7220. Again, that number is 615-865-7220. That's Hayes Nissan of Rivergate, where your dollar always goes farther.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Bundling car and renter's insurance with Geico is so easy, your neighbors are probably already doing it. But who? Look for the signs. Chances are they live in a home and have a car. They use money and enjoy having more of it. They probably drink lots of lemonade. Lemonade. And they probably said something suspicious like, "I'm bundling with Geico," or "Stop spying on me with those binoculars." If so, you may want to ask them how easy it was to bundle with Geico. Bundling is easy with Geico. Just ask your neighbors.
Golfers, tee it up this Thursday through Sunday at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the Callaway Fitting Event and be the first to score the new Paradigm Woods and Irons. The woods are engineered with forged carbon to maximize distance and forgiveness. The irons feature a forged face for increased launch speed and spin. A new paradigm in performance. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience happening this Thursday through Sunday. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
5-state forecast. Your exclusive national sports radio, WNSR Sky Scan forecast. Today's going to be mostly cloudy with a high of 40. Clearing and colder tonight, the low 24. Sunny Friday, high 52. Saturday, sunny, high 56. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Rinaldi.
Sports Radio, WNSR.
Good stuff from Terry McCormick. Butch Spearden joins us to begin the second hour of the program. McFarland Show here on WNSR. 615-844-5600. Go down to Columbia. Nate is standing by. Nate, what's up?
What's up, guys? I didn't think of this the other day, but I had a thought earlier today where I was sitting in the arena on Tuesday, and after Genoa had scored, I had thought about, this is the perfect game for him to actually score a goal, because it was a very physical game, and it plays into the style of game he likes to play. I wonder if that's why he hasn't been scoring much this season, because there haven't been that many physical games, just because the league is going to more a skate fast, happy league.
I don't know if I buy that. I believe he's had bad luck, bad puck luck. I talked about it last night with Nino Niederreiter and Ryan and McDonough. I said, I've heard this term forever, bad puck luck.
Puck luck.
Either good or bad, puck luck.
Okay.
It's like, I've always wondered, is that a real thing? And, they said it's a real thing. And sometimes, when you look at the analytics, because that's what everybody uses now. His analytics are almost exactly on par with what he had last year, and we know he finished with 24 goals. And don't forget, what did he finish? The last 15, 16 games of the season, didn't have a goal and still finished with 24. And yet his analytics show that he's on pace, basically doing the same thing analytics-wise, and he's got 4 goals. So he's hit the post a lot, and maybe certain things that were happening for him last year were going in. This year, the same thing isn't going in. So, they subscribe to it. That's 2 players, 2 established players in the league. And if they say it's real, I'll buy it too. I just think he's having a bad puck luck.
It's like tree love in golf. When you shank one to the woods and somehow it knocks the tree perfectly where you end up in the fairway.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's still a physical guy. They still want to be what they were doing last year, but, he also was contributing in the scoring department where this year he is not. And look, let's be honest, Nate, in the offseason, wasn't that a question? I mean, I know I talked about it. Can Tanner Jeannot – that's what you always want to know, right? Whenever somebody bursts onto the scene, okay, that's awesome, cool, 24 goals, or fill-in-the-blank example, right, at any sport. Can they bring it? Can they do it again? Can you run it back? Can you do the same thing, or can you be even better? That's what you always want to know. You want to see it done again. And look, that's the hardest part about professional sports is the greatest, the best – keep running it back. Others struggle with that. Clearly, he has struggled with that this year.
Yeah. And, hey, did y'all see where Bally Sports might be in trouble? They might be filing for bankruptcy.
It's not might. There's no really might. You can drop might. It's in trouble. I mean, they are almost $10 billion in debt. Billion.
Yeah, I didn't know that until today. I was listening to a different show, and then I heard that something's going on with Bally, so I went to look it up, and I saw the B word, and I was like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, no, they're in. There's another B word attached to that article. It's called bankruptcy.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Now, I don't know. Look, I've seen this happen in this world, in the radio world, where I've seen them go belly up. I've been a part of going belly up, but I've also seen where you hear it, and they restructure, and they do this, and they do that, and they restructure. You hear it, and they never file bankruptcy, and they never go away. So I'm not smart enough to know how all that works behind the scenes when it comes to lawyers and accountants and all the smart people that will be involved in trying to save that thing. But, look, it affects the Predators. It affects a lot of other NHL teams. It affects NBA teams. It affects Major League Baseball teams.
Yeah.
That are all tied to Bally Sports.
People want to know where they can see certain things, and if that's in question, then obviously that affects the relationship that the fan has with that team, without question. You want to know where you can watch your team.
The bottom line is Bally Sports seems like it seems like from what I've read. And look, Justin, you can weigh in on this because you've got they're tied to Sinclair. I mean, you read the articles, right? They're owned by Sinclair.
They are.
But it's a different they're separated too. I'm saying they are under the same roof.
Yeah, under the same umbrella a little bit.
Kinda, right?
From all indications, Bally came in. They had a lot of bright ideas at first, and for whatever the reason, things have clearly not turned out great for them on a lot of different fronts.
Well, that's what I was going to say. One of those bright ideas was let's capitalize like everybody else and make people pay for our service, and the sports fans will. And in my opinion, this is just my humble opinion, they overpriced themselves, like $19.99. I'm sorry, and clearly it was the wrong price point because if you read the articles, it doesn't sound like very many people signed up, or at least not to the level that they thought were going to sign up.
And listen, again, I'm not smart enough to even me know all the different things and structures and payment and who got what from who and where and how and why, but for whatever the reason, it doesn't seem like it's going well for that particular part of the company, and they're going to have to make some serious changes. Now, whether or not those changes are going to affect you on the air this year as far as the way that you watch the team, I don't know if it's going to happen that fast.
Probably not.
I think we could be looking at some kind of off-season restructuring or rebranding or something like that. But also, Nate, keep in mind, and Darren, I've also seen it where they've declared bankruptcy. Companies have declared bankruptcy, and the company sticks and stays around somehow.
Yeah,
they don't. It doesn't change. It doesn't mean you're closing the doors and it's all going away and we're never going to see it again. They declare. They were able to work it out. They're able to make arrangements. They're able to make their payments, whatever the case may be. Business deals are very complicated, very complicated.
And there's also, and Nate, I don't know if you saw this or read this, and I don't have the particulars in front of me, but, the government steps in, people step in when companies are in trouble. And I think I've already read tell me if you saw this too, where they were expected to owe, I guess, like $170 million for the month of February for something or more, and they've already had that deferred, or they don't have to make that payment in February. So again, these are steps. People intervene, and I don't know where this is going. I just know that it's not good.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't really gotten the chance to read an article. I just did a quick Google search and saw the word bankruptcy. I was like, oh, that's fun. But Justin, you're talking about companies that actually filed bankruptcy, not the ones that yelled bankruptcy like Michael Scott.
Yes, I'm talking about companies that actually filed for bankruptcy, and they still now, are they the same company they were before? No, things are different now on the back end, but they're still able to hang in there somehow, hang out, still have a presence somewhere. And, you just don't. Business is a very interesting world with a lot of different turns and different ways things can go. So, I think it's best for me to leave it right there for me in this situation because, like I said, there's a lot that could happen here one way or the other, but I really don't think, I feel fairly safe in saying that I do not believe it's going to affect the fans' relationship with whomever team that you're watching this particular season, like within the next few months. But long term, I think there could be some definite changes for sure.
Well, we'll see what happens tonight against the Devils. You all have a great day, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Same. Yep, New Jersey tonight, and then a good break for the Preds and the league.
Weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks.
It's not the typical All-Star break that they've had. This feels a little bit closer to more like their Olympic breaks that they've taken in the past.
I was going to say,
it's not 3 weeks, but it's. Oh. So I looked at the schedule. I was like, oh, they're going to be gone for a bit.
February 7th.
Huh.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you just free up a whole
after
7 to 10 days there.
What is tonight is January 26th.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, at least going on a couple weeks there.
2
yeah.
weeks.
Just get some space. Let's get some space.
Well, in all seriousness, not to try to break down too much of this because we honestly don't know. We could take educated guesses, but my educated guess where this impacts the Predators or all the other professional sports teams that are associated with Valley Sports, right? Mm-hmm. As you know, we all know the driving force for professional sports is what? Well, not sports, not professional sports. Sports, the driving
television
force
deals.
Is television deals.
Yeah.
Period. Like, ticket sales are great. Merch sales is great. There's all kinds of other ways to bring in revenue, advertising. It's all that's great stuff and needed. Mm-hmm. But the driving force, the blood, the guts of really how they make money is TV contracts.
Yeah.
And so the point is, if you have a contract and you are owed X amount of dollars from a TV contract, and that is included in your budget, your revenue, right? And they end up defaulting on this and say, hey, we can't pay you. We can't honor this contract.
Well,
then that affects everybody involved.
And again, I don't know. But from what I've read and looked into, it doesn't seem like they're going to default on payments to the actual league itself. It seems like there's some partners somewhere that may not get the money that
that's what I'm getting at.
that they're due.
I didn't say the league. I said the partners, the Preds. Like,
no, because it's the partners doesn't necessarily mean the direct team itself.
Okay.
Other subsidiaries within that, because some of these loan deals are very complicated with a lot of different partners.
Okay.
So
you're talking over my head. But go ahead. Floor's yours.
No, I'm not trying to.
I don't understand. You know the inner workings better than me.
All I can, and again, I'm trying to, because I'm trying not to get myself in trouble here, because I don't, I haven't gotten clearance for a lot of this stuff. So I'm trying to be very tempered in what I'm saying here, because I don't want to speak out of term. All I'm saying is this: from what I'm seeing and what I'm reading, and again, I this is really, kind of stepping out just a little bit here, but I think that the people who are not getting paid are not the teams themselves.
Okay.
It is people who loan them money to make this happen to begin with.
Okay.
If I wanted to buy something from you, Darren, if I wanted to buy something from you, and I borrowed some money from Devlin to buy something from you, but all of a sudden now I don't have enough money to pay Devlin back from the – well, me and you are good.
Yeah.
Because I've already paid you.
I got my money and you got your product.
Now whatever's going on the back end is between me and Devlin.
Yeah.
So I think that's really more of what's going on versus the Predators didn't get paid or some other organization didn't get paid.
That's. I hope that's true. That's refreshing, because you don't want it affecting, the team in your market.
Yeah. And again, it's
enormously
complicated.
They had the list. Aren't the Grizzlies a part of that too?
They are.
So Grizzlies.
It's 22. It's 22 different markets.
Yeah.
So it's a huge deal, and when you get a deal like that, it's got a lot of people. It's not 3 or 4 people at a table. It's 300 or 400 at a table to get something like that done.
To be continued.
For sure.
And it is a big deal. It is. But I hope that I hope that's how it works, because you don't want your teams affected, right? Because they depend on that. That's
sure.
big.
The team, it's a big part of their revenue, so they can pay players, pay their people, employees, run their organization, do what they need to do.
100%. All right, that's going to do it for the first hour of the program. We'll come back. Butch Spirited. Maybe we ask Butch. He knows everything.
Butch actually might know about this.
He may.
He actually might.
I didn't know. There's very few times I ever question, should I ask Butch or not? Because I usually just go on the category of he'll know. All right, we'll come back. Butch Spirited to begin the second hour. That's next.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR, Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Alexis Christoforous. 5 former Memphis police officers are now facing criminal charges, including second-degree murder in the death of Tyree Nichols earlier this month. The officers were fired by the police department after a review of body cam video allegedly showing the officers beating Nichols during his arrest. ABC News legal analyst Chana Lloyd on what the department determined.
We have the body cams that we're going to be looking to see, hopefully. We're going to be looking to see other evidence that they had, that they were very much aware, the violations of the protocols and standards of procedure, because this was clearly an excessive use of force. So we're looking for that type of detail and nuances.
Other charges include official misconduct and aggravated kidnapping. President Biden is in Virginia touting the nation's economic recovery since he took office. He's calling on Congress to strike a deal on raising the debt ceiling. Jobless claims are down slightly last week from the week before. This is ABC News.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovyx may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovyx. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. That's right, free. This free book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And it's free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report summarizing the rates and benefits from financially strong insurers.
Call 800-715-9880.
That's right, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling today.
Call 800-715-9880. That's 800-715-9880.
Sponsored by Annuity General. Producers have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer. Increased income is possible using strategies suited to your goals and may require buying multiple annuities and holding them full term.
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios.
Just a bit outside.
Now back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call now at 615-844-5600.
Alrighty then.
Now the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Second hour on this Thursday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great day to this point. We said we would catch up with the CEO of the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation. No stranger to the show, no stranger to this city. He has helped to build it, shape it, reshape it, and continue this growth at a rocket pace. I never thought we would see it like this, but it is certainly here, and it's not going away anytime soon. Butch Spirited now joins us. Butch, how we doing?
Good, my friend. Very good. Thank you for the kind words.
Well, it's the truth, and I just never had you ever wired or pegged as someone that could just, just ride off into the sunset and not have anything on their schedule, man. You've been a busy man for like almost 4 decades.
Yeah, if you count the other cities I worked in, over 4 decades.
Over 4 decades, yeah.
So a little tired, but to your point, I'm going to stick around and try to keep stirring up some proverbial mess, if you will.
Well,
I'm going to work as a consultant for a few years to try to help chase some of the bigger stuff.
Do you have, I think you're going to retire, this summer, so do you have like a list of things you would like to do or accomplish before you become a consultant?
Well, if I had a magic wand, hell yeah. We would be announcing a Super Bowl, and we would be announcing some international flights. So I'm going to try to find 1 or 2 of those, but it may take a little longer than this summer.
Do you feel good that the Titans deal will be in place and announced and all the T's will be crossed and the I's dotted before you go off into that R word?
Yeah, before I leave, it'll either be dead or we will be moving dirt.
Okay. That's fair.
So I don't want to predict, it's a done deal. It is not a done deal. I think we're in pretty good shape with it. But I think on any of the media or civic clubs that I have done in the last 6 months, call and write your council members. Speak up. The opponents are vocal all the time, and the proponents are busy going to work and assuming, this is going to get done because it's a no-brainer. Well, assume nothing. Take no chances. Speak up.
So the word is closure. You feel like there will be closure one way or the other before the summer?
Yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Can you help me? Can you help us with this? Because this is one that people, as you know, Butch, because you've seen the layers of a new stadium for the AAA baseball team and all the stuff with the sounds in the past and now today, and wow, look at Germantown, it's so cool. But there's a lot of passionate baseball fans in this market, as you know, especially with this growth. A lot of people that moved in here came from baseball markets. It is the question that never ends with me. I mean, it never ends. I mean, people call into the show, people reach out to me because there is a group in place that constantly is putting out stuff, right? And they're, hey, Don Mattingly's joined the group, and you know, we know Dave Dombrowski moved here, and then he became the Phillies GM. And
then he left.
Then he left, right. So there's like constant movement. There's constant chatter, but I don't know if it's all hollow, right? Like if I want an Easter bunny, I want it to be solid. I don't like the hollow bunnies. I want a solid bunny, Butch. And I've talked to all of these folks, Dave Stewart and the whole group. We've had them on. I've talked to them. I know they're real. I've touched them. They're real people.
Very credible people.
Yeah, they're credible and they're real, but I just don't know if any of this chatter is real. Can you bring any light on whether we're going to see a Major League Baseball franchise in this market anytime soon?
So I could try. I try to stay engaged. I talked to a number of the advisory committee members. Alberto Gonzalez, one of those, is on our board. Actually, Eddie George is on that committee, and he's on our board. So we have the conversations. I agree with you. There's a lot of chatter. And sometimes going quiet could be more helpful until you have real news. I understand let's keep the spin right. Let's keep the story right. Let's keep it top of mind. But there is a point of fatigue that can come with that. So if I sum it up, I think Major League Baseball really does have Nashville in its sights. There is no expansion plans right now. They are probably at the earliest 3 years and as long as 5 or 6 years away. We're more likely to be an expansion consideration because they would prefer not to move Tampa or Oakland, the likely conversations. If they move Oakland, we all of us would go to Vegas and bet on Vegas.
Yep.
And Tampa has released plans to try to build a new stadium, I think, in Ybor City. So they're trying to mend that fence and keep them there. So I don't see a relocation as a real viable. I think expansion. But then Major League Baseball has to get to that point, and we have to have a billionaire owner. And we don't have a billionaire owner yet, which may be the biggest question in this. So we're the right market. We're in the right line. The group that's making noise, they certainly have done a lot of good work. They're very likable, and there's an incredible group of Nashvillians involved in that. I'm beyond impressed with that group. But we don't have a team, and we don't have a billionaire to own that team. Those are two big hurdles.
The last time I talked to Dave Stewart, I just asked him, I said, you know, what to have all your ducks in a row, to pay an expansion fee, to build a retractable roof, which is the right stadium to build in this market, in my opinion, and everything you need to start up this franchise, what kind of type of money do you have in place? And he said they're trying to raise, I think he said $5 billion, which, okay, I would, that makes sense, but that's easier said than done, right? But you know a lot of people. you might be able to do it, I think, but I mean that's a lot of cash.
I could raise 500 maybe.
Right, but $5 billion is a pretty steep number.
That's exactly to my point. That's why you're not going to go out and raise $5 billion without a lead dog, and that dog is a billionaire who's willing to spend $1 billion plus of their own money. Because the city and the state, I mean, there'll be help, but both have stepped up and are working on, and rightfully so, we got to get this Titan deal right. So we don't need to be distracted. and the appetite to drop another, whatever the number is not going to be there right away.
Butch, I was surprised to see you at the Fair Board meeting talking about the investment that the corporation is making into the racetrack there at the fairgrounds. Can you just talk to me a little bit about that deal? I know that deal is probably on your to-do list as well, as far as trying to get done before you decide to head off to the houseboat or the lakefront or whatever it is you got going on.
Yeah, I was there. We have agreed to financially support the renovation of the Speedway. We don't normally put money in things like that.
Yes, I know. That's why when I saw you, I was like, what is happening?
There's a couple things. We ended up with a pretty big reserve last year because our recovery happened faster than any of us thought. So there were some available dollars that didn't affect our day-to-day operation on an annual basis. And then the second thing we did was we can't just give you money, but we can buy dates. So if I can get a certain number of dates that we can either use as an incentive to book something or sell off to make some of our money back, then we were open to that. So it is a different play, but on one hand, put our money where our mouth is. Shall we believe in the project? If you heard me that day, one of the things I said was I was one of the people that thought youth athletic fields, green space, was a much better use for that area. The public voted and said, we want to keep a speedway. I mean, that was a significant public vote. So if we're going to have a speedway, I would rather have a nice one with sound mitigation and amenities than a dog. And no offense to the speedway, but it's a dog. And it's not a AKC registered dog. So, we just stepped up to say, yeah, if we believe in it, we believe in it enough to support it financially.
Okay, so, I mean, I know ultimately the Fair Board and the City Council both have to vote on that. Is that right, Butch, to get that one done? Okay, so we're still waiting on that, and I know the Fair Board is being very thorough in a lot of their investigation of all of this. All right, I want to take you back. Darren and I had a question that we were debating among ourselves a few moments ago, and Butch, you are obviously a sports fan, so I don't think I'll have to get into this too much with you. The greatest comeback until recently in the history of the National Football League was led by the new Carolina Panthers coach, Frank Wright. Frank Wright led the Buffalo Bills to beat the Houston Oilers at the time. A few years later, the Houston Oilers moved to Nashville to become the Tennessee Titans. Butch, knowing everything you know now, if the Houston Oilers get to the Super Bowl, let alone win it, does Bud Adams take the Oilers out of Houston anyway?
Probably not. If he would have gotten, because if he'd have won a Super Bowl in Houston, he would have gotten the stadium he was looking for, I believe.
Yep, we do too.
So he got crossways with the county judge, is what they call county commissioners down there. He got crossways. They got into a fight. Neither was going to bend. That's what motivated Bud. Well, fine, I'll take my toys and I will go elsewhere. And, we were lucky to be around and be the beneficiary of that.
The NFL draft, I know, was a big one for you, Butch. Was that the biggest one? What is your crowning achievement, you think, when it's all said and done for you?
Well, it better be a Super Bowl on the books. That was a seminal moment and a stamp of approval that this town can compete at the highest level and show really well from a production, event, attendance, all the things that other events look at when they think of markets. And being a small market, we have always had trouble saying, we can do that. And they go, yeah, you're cute, pat you on the head, call us later. That stopped after that event. People take us seriously now. So I try not to think about, from my perspective, what was the best, biggest legacy, any word, but I look at it, it changed the perception of Nashville throughout the sports world and the event world.
I know you think about the ones that got away because you've talked about it. I know you think about the World Cup. I know you think about the things that you didn't get that still did get you, and I know the Super Bowl is one of those things. So how can you rest? Can you rest? Can you turn it off, Butch, after you walk away for the last time?
Hell no.
I was going to say, there's no way. No way.
I'd be lying, but that's why I have said minimum of 2 years, if you'll have me. And fortunately, the board and Dina said, yes, we'd love to have you engaged, that I can work on big things, but also slow down. I mean, we've been in the ditch, and I've been in the ditch on how many multitudes of projects or cleanup or, the fight, the good fight. So it takes its toll after a while, but I still have some gas in my tank, and I still have some visions of, this city should be looking at Grammys and Super Bowl and Final Fours and college football playoffs and WrestleMania and Barrett Jackson's auto auction. When you mentioned I hate losing. The hardest thing is when you have somebody calling you and you can't accommodate it. And that, Barrett Jackson auction, it's a huge televised high-end event. They've been on us for 5 years. Well, we don't have a place for you. And then they get mad at me. They called the governor and complained about me. Well, I'm not saying no. I'm saying we don't have anything. So the fairgrounds might work for them down the road, and closed stadium might work for them down the road. So there are ample opportunities out there for us. And, I'm a dreamer and a believer, and Nashville deserves to be able to choose to chase whatever it wants to chase, not be limited by infrastructure. Let's limit it by what we want or don't want. So,
are you going to be involved in the NHL draft and the award show?
Yeah, you could. It happens to fall about a week before my final day. We had a meeting last week with the NHL and the press. So the short answer, yes, we will be very involved with the production of all of that.
Good deal. That is awesome. Butch, appreciate it.
And want to be.
Yeah. that's a good way to be exit stage left, right? That's not a bad thing. You remember 20 years ago, the first one came here?
Mm-hmm.
We did pretty good in the draft, watching paint dry. We didn't know what we were doing. We filled that arena. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
And then let me give a plug for Nashville hosting SEC Media Days. Yeah. And we're going to do some big events around that to make it more fan-friendly. So, really starting to ramp up what we do with the SEC.
Butch, here's a wild card for you, Butch. There are thoughts that maybe one day the SEC moves their office up I-65 and perhaps buy some office space somewhere close to us.
I would rent a U-Haul and drive down and help them.
And you know what? You'll have the time, so you can make that happen.
Hey, hunk hauling junk. I can join the team, and I don't know about the hunk, but I can haul some junk.
I don't know how much junk the SEC's got either.
You may be packing up chandeliers
and marble.
Yeah, it's an upper echelon opportunity.
Yes.
We've been paying attention to that. I can tell you, I know their current lease is through 2026, so pay attention to the calendar.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
Any opportunity, we would be crazy not to go talk to them.
No doubt. Butch, appreciate it. It won't be the last time we reach out to you. Thanks so much for your time,
as
always.
As always, thank you, guys.
Butch Spiriton, he is the CEO of Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation. We're wide open the rest of the hour, 615-844-5600. Good stuff right there.
Some things to think about there.
Yep, we can react to that and take your phone calls the rest of this Thursday edition of the McFarland Show. We'll do that next.
Located at 5410 Murfreesboro Road in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers is one-stop shopping for all your liquor, beer, and wine needs and has been a multiple winner annually in the Best of Rutherford County voting for Best Liquor Store and Top Wine Shop. Featuring the lowest prices, the best customer service with unsurpassed knowledge, City Slickers offers the largest craft beer selection in Rutherford and southeastern Davidson counties and has beer on tap at its Growler filling station. City Slickers also sells mixers, sodas, snacks, tobacco products, and the Tennessee Lottery, and can place special orders and assist with all your events and even wedding planning. Make sure you follow City Slickers on all their social media or just give them a call at 615-280-7469. That's 615-280-7469. Located in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
Slim's Tender Mac Bowls are back. We start with a 3-cheese blend to make our delicious mac and top it with chopped hand-breaded tenders and Colby Jack cheese. Try the Tender Mac Bowl meal or the Buffalo Tender Mac Bowl meal, both served with Texas toast and a medium drink. But hurry, they're only around for a limited time. Download the Slim Chickens app to order and earn rewards.
This is the Greg Pogue and John Burton Show.
Scott, the most important question you're going to get all day. Do you remember bumping into me at Whole Foods about 4 years ago?
What? Do I remember 4 years ago in Whole Foods? You know, vividly.
Just say no. It's fine.
You probably thought it was Derek Mason. That's why the Vanderbilt football coach.
Greg Pogue and News Channel 5's John Burton. WNSR. Nashville Sports Radio.
Stuff as always from Butch Bearden. Man, you talk about having the pulse of what's going on in the city. That man's got the pulse of the city.
He is a historic man. And listen, I hope we didn't ask him, but I hope Butch writes a book or something about him, because he has single-handedly overseen a lot of the growth that we have seen. Now, whether you like it or not, because I know there's some of you who don't like the growth. Let's just be real about it. You don't like the traffic. You don't like the elimination of the green space and some of the things that have happened that has brought the things here. But Butch oftentimes swings for the fences. And, boy, the 4th of July in Nashville will never be the same. New Year's Eve in Nashville will never be the same. And, some of the other events that are coming here to town, the NHL draft, the NFL draft that is already coming through, the Super Bowl, potentially, if they can get the stadium deal done, NASCAR possibly returning back to Metro Nashville, possibly if they can get that deal done. That's major league stuff that we're talking about here, the Final Four and WrestleMania and things like that. And Butch Bearden negotiated a lot of that. Actually, all of that he negotiated to get it here. And, what's interesting, Darren, I found, a couple things about what Butch just said are very interesting. the Houston Oilers question, I almost think I stunned Butch, which, is crazy because I didn't think I could really do that. But Butch actually paused and thought about that for a second and said, nah, if the Oilers get to the Super Bowl, they probably give Bud the stadium. The Oilers probably never end up here. We don't have a football team to this very moment. Probably. And the other thing he talked about was the possibility of the Southeastern Conference, when their lease runs up down in Alabama, making the move up 65 perhaps at some point at the end of 2026.
Remember, Nashville was – I'm glad he brought up the SEC Media Days there because I don't think anybody's really talking about it. I don't think people really – I don't think a lot of people know that SEC Media Days is coming to Nashville this year because it was supposed to be a couple of years ago and COVID hit, right? That's when Nashville was supposed to host it. But it's scheduled this July.
Okay. So this July, SEC Media Day is scheduled to be here in Nashville. Tell you what an interesting day.
Is that area built up now? Because when they initially announced it and where it was going to be, I was like, I've never even heard of that.
Well, if it's going to be down at the Nashville Yards is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Not quite. COVID has slowed down some of the construction around the yards a little bit. It's down there, off of Broadway, what is that, 7th, 8th, 9th, over there, in the below the city a little bit, the Gulch area, the North Gulch anyway. It's the Frisk Center. If you're at the Frisk Center and you look directly across the street, all of that is the Nashville Yards, essentially. Where the Amazon Center for Excellence is rising over there. That is all the Nashville Yards over in that direction. It's supposed to be a very large complex and really a campus full of buildings, hotels, condos, business park, bowling alleys, movie theaters, you name it. It's all supposed to be over there. It was going to take a while to get online. They weren't going to open all of that at once. It was going to take several years to get up and going. But I think some of the supply chain issues because of COVID significantly slowed it down.
But you think that area is built up?
Well, I mean, they got a hotel over there.
Okay, so the hotel,
the hotel's open.
Yeah,
the Grand Hyatt is.
That's
over
what
there.
it was. Yeah.
Oh, it's the Grand Hyatt.
Yeah,
okay.
Because when they first announced, I was like, Grand Hyatt, what?
Oh,
Nashville
the Grand
Yards,
Hyatt's been open for over a year now.
The
Grand Hyatt is
Okay, all right. Well, I haven't been in there yet.
Oh, huge rooftop, on the full nine. Oh yeah, the Grand Hyatt is up and going without question.
And then the Nashville Yards, that's what they're naming that area.
That's the campus back behind it. Area back behind it. So, it's sort of the front door to the Nashville Yards is the Grand Hyatt Hotel, if that's where they're going to be. So, that area is up, going full scale. It's been going for a while.
We need to make sure we're there doing our show.
Oh, without question.
Every day for the SEC Media Days, right?
Oh, man,
that's like a no-brainer.
It would be absolutely tremendous.
No-brainer. 615-844-5600 is how you get in touch with us. Yeah, maybe we should have Frank Reich on and thank him. Because if he didn't make that comeback, who knows?
Yeah, because he's the one making all of this happen.
A lot of things could have changed. History.
He's the one making, making those passes across the middle there.
Could have changed.
To drive him up and down the field. So that could be a lot of fun indeed.
We talked about Scott Rowland in Major League Baseball, Cooperstown, the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
So I brought up the whole baseball thing. I know you get asked a lot too. I get asked
all the time.
All the time. And I thought it was interesting what Butch said about that because on one hand, I get it, right? They want to be out there. They want to be relevant. They want to be seen. They want to say, hey, we're not Oz. We're not behind a curtain, right? We're here. We're a group that's here.
Yeah.
Nashville Stars, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Like on one hand, that's great, right? Okay. But then on the other hand, as he said, and I thought he brought up some really good points, it does create confusion because think about it. We're in the business.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to tell people. Like, all I can do is...
I don't know why. Why don't you know what to tell them? There's been no announcement of any expansion team.
I know, but people want answers. It's like, they're a group.
Yeah.
They want to have an expansion team here.
They do.
They want to call them the Nashville Stars.
They do.
They want to play over the campus, to land close to TSU or on TSU's campus. They want to have a retractable roof. They want to do this. They want to raise $5 billion. And they've brought Don Mattingly on. That's great.
They have, yes. And all that could happen.
No. But here's the thing, Justin.
Yeah.
Like, all that is true, or at least that's what,
Yes.
That's what my conversations, your conversations.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I'm talking about the real nuts and bolts question. Okay, what Butch said is true. Like, they have not, Major League Baseball has not announced expansion.
No.
So it doesn't matter what the group says, what they're talking about. Like, unless they announce expansion, it's irrelevant. But the real question that I have, and I think a lot of people want to know that I can't answer, and I'm pretty sure you can't answer, is, okay, let's say a month from now, Major League Baseball says, you know what, 2025 or 20, whatever, pick a year. I don't care. Pick a year.
Sure. 26.
26.
Sure.
We're adding 2 new franchises to Major League Baseball.
One national, one American. Sure.
There you go. And all of a sudden, then it gets out there, man, this is where these are the leading cities in the clubhouse.
We're playing that game.
Nashville.
Yeah, remember that.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
So we get all excited, right?
Well.
So that's the question. So that happens. Can this group pull that off then? Can they then move forward and say, we got shovels in the ground. We're good. Everything is good. Nashville Stars.
They shouldn't put shovels in the ground.
Here we are, shovels in the ground. Well,
they shouldn't do that.
Well, that's just for looks, and then you get the machines out. And backhoes, and.
I'd be careful even doing that. I mean, because, there's no guarantees with these things.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Major League Baseball is not guaranteed to move here. I agree.
No, let me just say, hold on. Let me just squash that right there.
Yeah.
If Major League Baseball expands, this will be one of the cities. If there is a group in play, if the question that I'm asking can pull it off, there is no doubt. There's not a single person that I've talked to outside of this market that are in Major League Baseball markets and follow Major League Baseball and talk to people in Major League Baseball in the building. Major League Baseball wants to be in Nashville. It's not even a question. Like, they're like, Nashville, yes. Just like everybody else. They want to be here. They want a franchise here.
Okay, well.
But the question is, can we pull it off? Okay. Can this city, can this group pull off the money, the land, the building, everything that's involved? Can they do it?
Okay. So let me introduce a couple of things into this conversation, which is a good one and one that probably needs to be had. So I know there's been a lot of focus on the Nashville Stars group and all the investors and the incredibly wonderful people that we've been talking about, Major League Baseball Hall of Famers, a former attorney general, music superstars, and local sports heroes, all involved.
All of the above
involved in this wonderful group.
We've even heard Justin Timberlake.
We absolutely have. Okay. So we've heard all of these. He was the music superstar I was mentioning. So, yes, all these people have been mentioned as a part of this group. And you're asking a relevant question. Can they get here? Can they get this done? Do they have enough money and enough people in place? We just heard Butch say they're going to need a billionaire to drive this whole thing. All right. Done. Established. Gotcha. Can I suggest that there could be a billionaire out there who has nothing to do with this current group, who, when presented with an opportunity to own a sports team here in Nashville, decides that this is the time to make the move? And what you're asking is only thinking about the group that is in place and not outsiders who could be elsewhere, who could be looking at this market as fertile ground, because we get investors in here all the time from different areas of the country and different parts of the world that invest here in Nashville. They pour millions of dollars in here. Is it possible that somebody who owns a piece of Walmart or who knows where or what decides, you know what? This sounds good to me. I'm going to move to Nashville. I'm going to be here full time. I'm going to run this team. I'm going to pay $2 billion or whatever it takes. I appreciate what the Nashville Stars have done. Love them. God bless them. But we have nothing to do with them. What we're doing is on our own.
We're ready to write checks.
And we're going to write checks.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do it at TSU. We're doing it in Williamson County.
Okay.
We're doing it in Franklin. We're doing it in Murfreesboro. We're doing it, in Mount Juliet or, out there in Wilson County somewhere where there's plenty of land right off the interstate that's accessible to everybody. We're doing a whole new thing. What about that, Major League Baseball? You feeling that? You liking that? I mean, so when you talk about the potential of owning one of the franchises in Major League Baseball, I think there's a lot of people outside of the group that's already here who will be interested in doing that without involving themselves with all the different interests that you would have by, climbing into bed with a bunch of different people there. I don't need anybody else. I'm doing it on my own. We have it all the time with NFL franchises and stuff. Sure. The guy who bought the Denver Broncos is one of the Walmart billionaires. He's worth $67 billion. Okay? Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York, owner of Bloomberg and all that, he's worth, I think, what was it? Something ridiculous, $160 billion.
Who just
ridiculous.
bought the Phoenix Suns and the Mercury?
I forget. Yes.
Like $4 billion.
$4 billion, paid a ridiculous amount of money. There's a lot of people who would be willing to come up with that money if they meant the opportunity to be here full-time and run an operation. So I don't think all the focus when it comes to this team needs to be on this current group. It could be, is Nashville ready to do this, period, regardless of who owns it? Because it may not be this current group at all.
Yeah, because that is a fair point. Because it's fine that you're visible. It's fine that you're there. It's fine that I get emails from you all the time. And it's fine that I've talked to you. Okay? That's fine. But the question is that everybody wants to know, and that's the one I never can answer, like, how realistic is this group? How real are they? Like, do they see, like, you're painting the picture like there are groups or there are people who are like, what is the fee again? Okay, I just Venmo'd you. How much does it cost to build a retractable roof?
Yeah, they don't need a fundraiser.
All right, cool. I just Venmo'd you. Right? Or you want to do old school? I just wrote you a check.
I wrote you a check.
We're ready. We're rolling.
Yeah, we're doing this.
That's it.
Don't even worry about it.
Like, Major League Baseball, you want to be here? Okay, fine. All right. Here's the cash. Here's the numbers. Like, that is real. So that's what I'm just trying to figure out, is this group capable if the hammer dropped where Major League Baseball, by the way, which I'm shocked they have not expanded by now. So I thought COVID would have them expanding right away. Because of all the lost revenue they had for 2 seasons.
They said they wanted to get Oakland and Tampa, which is why Butch mentioned those two things, because he knows, like I do. He said, but they've been consistent with saying this, though. The commissioner of Major League Baseball has been consistent in saying they want to get Oakland and Tampa settled before they expand. That's what he has said all along.
My hair was completely brown the first time Oakland and Tampa had problems.
Yeah.
Okay, I had brown hair.
Listen, no one said it was easy.
You probably had a full head of hair.
Yeah, because it's going fast.
I'm sorry, man.
It's going fast.
I'm just trying to think of
real Stephen A. Smith right now. Yeah, I'm going to have to do something about that. But, it's one of those things. No shot to Stephen A. Stephen A., you don't know who I am, so it's okay. But no, listen, and yes, you're right. You're right, Darren. That has been going on for a long time. But they have not settled it yet, and they have not even whispered expansion. Because they know the kind of things it gets started just by them saying the word expansion. They know that there are a bunch of cities around the country who are going to be lining themselves up to try to get an expansion teams. Austin, Texas, Portland, Oregon, among them, trying to get back in the game for Montreal, trying to get back in the game. Vancouver, potentially, trying to get back in the expansion game to try to get a team. So,
San Antonio. It's a lot of cities that you hear.
Yeah, Nashville is special, but, listen, it ain't the only special place now. There's a bunch of places around the country.
I'm just telling you, we don't have to beg Major League Baseball. We'd be number one on the list. Okay. They would come here.
All right.
And I know you could say, well, you're biased. Well, I am.
It's not about being biased.
But I wouldn't get on here and say that if I didn't believe that from people that I've talked to. All right, Mike and Melrose, we'll get to you on the other side. We'll step away quickly, come back, get your phone calls. 844-5600. More of the McFarland Show next.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed. And a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067. Online at CordellCordell.com.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Paid for by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
The Jim Rome Show.
I get a lot of vacation. I understand that. However, I don't take a lot of sick days. These things are not one and the same. That was not like I worked 8 straight days or I worked Super Bowl Sunday. I think I'll give myself a day off. I earned it. Hey, and by the way, I could because I have those days. I pride myself in not taking sick days. I hate that. We usually grind through it. But honestly, it was the right thing. In that case, it was the right thing.
The Jim Rome Show. Weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville's Sports Radio.
615-844-5600. By the way, you can watch us every day, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Darren and Justin, the McFarland Show. Strike and Spare Family Fun Center Studio. Let's go to the phones. Mike is in Melrose. Mike, what's up?
Good afternoon. I'm actually not in Melrose today. I'm in Cedars of Lebanon State Park, just taking a little hike and enjoying one of our beautiful
it's
state
very
parks.
nice out there.
One of the perks I have from being a teacher, we get discounts. So
okay,
it's
good.
cold, but not bad.
I was going to say, it's a little bit chilly today, isn't it?
It's not too bad. Not windy, though. Not windy. That's the key thing. Hey, so my dad had a group about 30 years ago, tried to bring Major League Baseball. Had a good group, Conway Twitty, Jerry Reed, Walter Nipper. And the mayor was behind it. If we had a stadium, we would have got it. No doubt. No doubt. Colorado, they had Mile High Stadium. But with sounds used to outdraw them like crazy. They would have one big crowd a year, July 4th, 60,000, but that's why they got the team. That's the same reason Tampa Bay got the team. They had a stadium sitting empty. Yep. Now nowadays, with the expansion fee, what it is, and the cost of stadiums, so that's why the baseball's going to add, just because of the expansion fee. Why wouldn't it? That's why MLS soccer keeps adding teams.
Of course. Why do you think the NHL just did it? Because it put $750 million immediately into the owners' pockets.
Yeah, and you're adding markets. You're adding pretty good TV markets, and the TV packages you get.
Well, don't forget, Mike. How do you think the Preds ended up here? What was already built?
That's when Dad was trying to get the stadium.
Yeah, there's an arena built.
We needed it. We needed it. We needed the arena. We needed a library. Hey, I missed out. You talked about Scott Rowland getting in.
Yep.
I talked to Greg Pogue about it. Now, nothing against him. A good, solid career, but when you look at his numbers, I went back. I looked at Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones had two more RBI. He had about 100 more home runs. Batting average went down. He's like 250 because his last 5 years he just didn't hit. But he had 10 Gold Gloves and played for championship teams. I just don't get why Roland got in over somebody like that, over Todd Helton, because he played in Colorado. I just don't get, and then why the Hall of Fame committee, they're so selective on things. They don't want to pick somebody they think might have taken steroids.
Well, that's what we talked about yesterday. Mike, we had a pretty extensive conversation, and look, all this, the guys that have the cloud over them, that whole group that we all know, most of them would absolutely belong in Cooperstown, but they're clear. It's very clear they're not going to put them in. So now if you look at it, I mean, just think about the last 3 years. Look at all the old timer guys. Not that they don't belong in there, Mike, but just think about the names they've started putting in. You know why? Because they're now starting to dip into other pools that they've been ignoring, because of more current people. But now they've put all these guys on hold, or maybe they're never going to let them in. I don't know. Build a separate wing. So they're turning their attention to another group of players. But we're with you. I mean, we said yesterday, Scott Rowland, it's nothing against him. I don't want to ever poo-poo a defensive guy. Look, he had offensive numbers too, but, he was a very, very good third baseman. And I don't want to overlook that because it's not just stats driven. Like, you shouldn't take that element out. But if I'm being truthful, I think Scott Rowland is more in the Hall of Really Good than Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and the last thing is also, if the writers don't like you, if you didn't give an interview, like maybe Albert Bell, Gary Sheffield, Jim Rice, they don't vote for you.
Nope.
And that's not how it's meant to be.
Jack Morris.
Okay, because, Steve Carlson, because they didn't. Jim Rice was as nice as could be. I got to meet him when I was a bat boy. He was as nice as it could be. He might have given one interview and somebody twisted it. He probably said, I'm not giving interviews anymore. So I just wish they would change the process. And the 1 year nobody was inducted, that was a joke. Somebody should go in every year. Have a good day.
Yep, you too. No disagreements here on that.
I think the media thing is also another problem for Andrew Jones as well. He wasn't the most liked player around that particular circle of all time. Matter of fact, a lot of writers were very critical of him because of his play, some of his I don't want to call him antics because that's way too strong of a word, but I guess some of the things he would do at times, not running after balls, then in the outfield, and he was kind of trotting at times. Things like that is stuff that the writers didn't like, and it didn't do him any favors.
Let me give you another name. I know because I covered this team in the mid-'90s before I moved to Nashville. Manny Ramirez. The running joke with the media. Mm-hmm. I covered the 95 team, 94 team, 96 team, 97 team, and then I moved to Nashville.
Oh, the low.
Okay. That loaded Indians team. I was in that clubhouse.
They were
all the time.
One of the best lineups you've ever seen.
The running joke was, of course, it was called Jacobs Field back then, that they built a secret tunnel from the clubhouse to the parking lot because no one ever saw Manny Ramirez after games. Ever. They're like, oh, he's in the secret tunnel. He never spoke. Now, I don't know if that changed over time. I'm just giving you my personal. Remember, he was very young. That was at the beginning stages of his career.
Yeah.
He played for a long time.
He did.
But, I mean, some of the stuff you were just describing, is that not Manny Ramirez?
Yeah.
Didn't hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some of the same stigma that was around. But I mean, when you look at Manny's numbers.
Himself at the end of his career, too. And Manny's numbers were overpowered. If you want to compare Manny to Andrew Jones, I mean, you really can't do that. I mean, so.
His numbers were Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, his numbers were,
But there's a lot of other stuff around Manny Ramirez, and that's probably why he's not in.
Yeah.
Like his numbers, give me a break. He's
a
Hall of Famer.
His numbers are ridiculous.
He's a Hall of Famer.
That's, no-brainer type of stuff. But I will give Mike and Melrose credit for this, and he's right. They're not punishing.
Mike in Lebanon today.
Mike in Lebanon. Mike in the woods. they are not just punishing people who were admitted to being on steroids and took a punishment and all that. They're punishing people who even were just whispered or rumored to have used steroids. If you were just around it.
Well, and they punish jerks.
Yeah,
they punish jerks, too.
More times than not, and jerks. And you're right. There's a couple of exceptions out there, people who had some rumors, but they got in anyway. But most of the time, if you had a rumor around you, then you're not getting in.
But what was David Ortiz? Rumor? Again,
he's one of the exceptions to the rule.
Right, but why? Why?
Because he's Big Papi.
Hey, right, everybody loves him. Right. That's my point. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back, step away for the final time, wrap up the McFarland Show next.
Are you looking for a trusted partner who knows AT&T business inside and out? ABS Communications is an organization built on the premise that telecom solutions and working with companies like AT&T can often be complicated, and the customer needs someone to help them navigate through these complexities. They make complex simple. Whether it's helping maintain, manage, or secure your business, ABS Communications is here to help with all your business telecom and mobility needs. Their business was built with the goal of simplifying the process of connectivity for the customer and establishing a long-term relationship of trust through transparency and accountability. ABS Communications is a top 5 AT&T authorized agent with over 200 years of AT&T technical experience. You can call Mark and the gang at 615-349-8588, or you can visit their website at abscomm.net. And remember, mention the McFarland Show to ABS, and you could get up to $250 in a Visa gift card for new ABS business customers.
Attention. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, this message is for you. Congress has passed $80 billion in funding to more than double the size of the IRS. 87,000 new IRS employees means more audits, collections, and penalties. This will make the IRS larger than the Pentagon, State Department, FBI, and Border Control combined. Now is the time to call Civic Tax Relief.
I owe the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Their tax resolution specialists can stop the IRS from taking money out of your paycheck.
With Civic Tax Relief, they were able to save me upwards of $80,000 that I would have had to pay.
For your free tax relief information, call now. 800-841-0908. 800-841-0908.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
800-841-0908.
We're going to get into our routine with Daily Tennessee Jackpot. You got $1? Let's have some fun with it. Let's get those numbers going. How many are we picking? And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Let's go. All of us Tennesseans are having fun now. Let's play and play.
Work out a win with drawings every day when you play Daily Tennessee Jackpot. Only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
It's the afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
I have not met you, Andrew, but I'd love to meet you someday.
Yes, sir.
What story do you want to tell him, Clay? Oh, about how you got ejected?
Well, just how passionate of a Vanderbilt fan I am.
He's so passionate that he is not able to attend games. Is that fair, Clay?
That's fair.
The afternoon stretch. Afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Tonight, Preds and Devils to close out before the break. Bridgestone Arena, 7 o'clock. Tennessee whipped up. I mean, yawner whipped up on Georgia last night. Not even a game. Boring game.
Hey, you need those sometimes, okay?
No,
it's good.
I mean, that's good for them.
It's good.
I'm just saying, Georgia, nice fight, or lack of.
Hey, you know, Georgia's the one team in the SEC that I always think should be better at basketball. That's just
amazing?
Not.
It is.
I don't understand. How is Georgia not better at basketball?
No, I have brought this up for 2 decades. No, probably not that long, because I grew up, as you did. There was an era when Georgia, 80s, Georgia basketball, Vern Fleming, Dominic was like, hello.
Man. Oh, man.
Like, they were good. Hugh Durham, they were good.
Just geographically.
Right.
I mean,
like close to Atlanta. That's a
Atlanta
hotbed.
And Charlotte and Florida.
A hotbed for
Nobody
basketball.
want to come play
doesn't matter who they hire. It doesn't matter. Mike White is their coach.
I mean, it would seem to me they could pull some of the Georgia football players.
Who they had? Tom Crean? Who have they tried with? And it's like, okay, this is the hire that's going to change.
I'm shaky on the Georgia coaching history myself, but
they've tried.
They should be better at basketball than this.
I don't
understand it. If anybody's going to make, like Auburn and Alabama doesn't really make as much sense as Georgia would make as far as being a team that could make a threat or make a run. And I understand they're a football school. I get that. I got you. But there are other football schools who are competitive in SEC basketball. So and you don't need 40 guys in basketball. You need 3 to 4 guys a year. You can't find your 3 to 4.
They've had
Georgia.
Listen to this. Jim Herrick, Dennis Felton, Mark Fox, Tom Crean, and now Mike White. In all those, they were like, this is a home run hire. This is it. This is the one that's going to get them turned around. This is going to, this is what we've been saying.
And all of
them go there.
A few games under 500,
and
right?
They all
like
go
500
there,
or below.
And it all looks the same.
Yeah.
It
does.
all looks the same.
Mediocre.
It's all the same. I
don't understand.
I've never understood it.
There's something in the water. There's something, I mean, honestly, if you went and got you a couple of the backup defensive linemen from the football team and ran them in there, it would think you would do pretty well.
I feel like we could go out to Lebanon right now where Mike is in the woods and see Bigfoot and figure that out before we could figure out why Georgia basketball isn't good. I feel like we could go to the Cumberland. We'd see Loch Ness and figure it out.
Loch Ness down.
Loch Ness on the Cumberland.
Butch is working on it right now, I assure you.
And we would figure that out before we would figure out, Georgia basketball.
I don't understand. I've never understood.
I know. By the way, remember when I said yesterday, I don't get Auburn's flying under the radar. Oh, I figured out why they're flying under the radar.
Yeah.
Did you see them last night?
Yeah.
At home?
Yeah.
They got mopped.
Well,
A&M absolutely mopped them last night.
Bad night, we'll see. Maybe it's,
I was like watching it last night going, oh, that's why nobody's talking about Auburn.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not that good.
Maybe a little thin there.
Well, they were 16-3 going into the game.
Yeah, but
well, that's some weak non-conference.
I was going to say, you could be 16-3 and not mean a whole lot,
Yeah.
Maybe they played Tarleton State. Maybe they're on the schedule.
Tarleton State what?
You got to be old
What
school.
are they? What's the nickname?
Are they the Aggies? What are they? No, that's the other team. I forget. No, I'm sorry. I missed it.
God.
The Tigers. They're the Tigers, aren't they?
Oh, my gosh. You don't remember?
We're going to run out of time.
We did the whole show.
I don't remember. I know they're purple and something.
Yes. We did learn that.
Yes.
All right. The Texans.
Okay. Like Houston.
Yep. That'll do it for our show today. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We're looking forward to wrapping up the week starting tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Stay tuned. Afternoon Stretch is next.